Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Alexandra Kosteniuk, and today I'm going to broadcast a special simultaneous exhibition that's going to take place on the site lichess.org online. And I hope that you can see me and some of the participants that are currently in the Zoom. They're online. And we're about to start the Simul. That's gonna start in a second. In a few minutes, we'll just make sure that every participant is here and I can see every single request. It's going to be an online Simul. I'm going to play white on all the boards. The participants are gonna get 20 minutes plus 10 seconds for each move on their clock, while I will get 40 minutes more to be able to play so many games simultaneously. Okay, let me make sure that I can see all the requests that's needed. Oops. Okay. Okay, let me see. I know that one participant came a little bit later, so we need to make sure that she is here. And once everyone is here and ready, we will get going. Okay, so здравствуйте всем, кто говорит по-русски. Продублирую информацию на русском. Я вижу 10 участниц записаны здесь. И мне кажется, вот последняя участница, которая пришла, еще не отправила свою заявку на сеанс. Поэтому просьбу отправить. Вот Лиян Батырова, если я не ошибаюсь, не вижу заявки в сеансе. Поэтому сейчас по ссылочке в чате просьба зайти и отправить заявку, чтобы я могла ее принять, и тогда нас будет 11, точнее вас будет 11. Я буду одна, и мы сможем начать сеанс. Okay, so there gonna be 11 participants in total, and well, I'll be on my own. All by my own. That's the participants of the Queen's Chess Festival that took place online. That's the winners, the finalists of this festival. So they did qualify, they did play very well, they performed very well, and now they got a chance to play in this Simul and also, as far as I understand, they had some training sessions with renowned women's chess players. So it's a very nice initiative to celebrate the year of the women in chess. And we talk a lot about women's chess and how important it is to support girls and women in chess. So that's an opportunity, I think, to celebrate women's chess. And hopefully we can start soon. Just a second, I will ask a question. Hello. Okay, the Simul has started. Let me adjust the window so you can see as many games as possible. While I'm adjusting it, I will switch on another window because I'm the one who is playing and doing the technical stuff, so at the beginning it might be a little tricky, but it's gonna it's gonna start sooner or later. Okay, we have 11 games. 11 games. That's why I need 40 additional minutes, because some of those minutes are gonna be spent adjusting the boards, but we're gonna get there. 11 boards. Okay, so I want everyone to see as many games as possible. Okay. Okay, I think we're almost there. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I can start playing now. The first board, the first move against Hippo Griff Potter 5. Okay, Navadaria is next. Ajidman. Kseni CH. Okay, I will start with four first moves, alternating them in order, in different order. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure that everything, you can see everything. Okay. Okay. I think we're good to go. Good to focus on chess only. Okay. Okay. Well, openings, in the openings, it will go pretty fast. Yes, I think it's not going to be easy because, as I said, I'm facing some experienced players, but I will try to do my best. Well, it's a difficult question whether the game should be shorter in time, but here we're not really trying to play some blitz. We're trying to create some decent chess. Okay, some transpositions. So far it's quite hard to commentate. Okay, I was starting with different move orders, but in fact positions often transposed after d4 or knight f3, it transposed to open games anyway. Okay, so here it's King's Indian. This is two knights defense, a very solid system for black. Here everything is symmetrical so far very symmetrical, but usually it doesn't last very long, the symmetry. a6. Okay, very cautious move here. Let me try to develop. Developing usually is a good idea in chess. In openings, we tend to forget sometimes about how important it is to develop. Okay, t6, English opening. This is a King's Indian defense. d6. It's very interesting because last week I was giving Simul to the students of my chess academy, and okay, d4 is not a very common opening, it's a central opening, the second d4, but for some reason I started to see it quite often because well, we play a lot of games with rapid and blitz, shorter time controls, and here White's plan is very dynamic. They develop the queen, even though we know that it's tricky in the opening, but then they try to develop the queen side and castle long and start attacking on the king side. And for some reason, one of my students, when I think facing this opening for the first time, also played d6, quite a cautious move, but in fact, since White is wasting time moving her queen around, Black can be more aggressive. They can play knight f6, bishop before d5. Of course, d6 is not a mistake, it's just a little bit passive. Okay, here it's just opening moves, d4, also some opening theory. Bishop d7. Well, this is a move I don't really like, since I don't understand the idea behind this move. Usually every move must have a purpose, must have an idea behind it. And yes, we do say about developing our pieces, but developing means, when we say develop a piece, it usually means putting a piece onto a square where it attacks, it sees more squares than it used to. On c8, the bishop was attacking 5 squares, and here in the same story, right? So nothing actually changed for the bishop. It's not supporting the center, the knight was already attacked, so I don't really understand the reason of this move. If to develop this bishop, it would be better to consider these moves, bishop f5 or bishop g4. Okay, and I will try to play aggressively. Castle, bishop f5. Okay, one of the most common ways to play this opening, symmetrical. Okay, knight g4. Black wants to play knight f2 or bishop f2, so I have to be careful. It's quite an aggressive line for White. That's okay. It does require some careful decisions. I do calculate some lines connected with sacrifice of this rook. Well, it's always scary to sacrifice some material, right, in chess. If you don't have to. Okay, let me play knight h3 because alongside castle looks interesting, but I'm not sure. Queen e7. I've never seen this move. I've played this line many times, and here usually Black either goes away with the knight or plays d5 and queen e7. Well, it's possible, of course, pinning the pawn, but the question will stay what to do with the knight. Knight f6, knight to f6, developing the knight. I'll play queen g3, knight to a5. Well, we say that the knight on the rim is dim, so we prefer not to put our knights on the edge of the board if not necessary. And the knight on c6 was not under attack, and I don't really see the reason to move it away from the center, so I will just continue developing my pieces. Okay, so far very, very, very symmetrical position. Well, I'm playing with White, so let me hope that somehow I will be able using this one extra tempo or semi-tempo, be ahead of my opponent. Okay, let me just develop to e2 very cautiously. I know e5. Okay. Queen to d5. Knight to d7. Also moving your pieces twice in the opening is not to be suggested. Something that we don't really want to see happening very often. I don't like my knight on h3, but okay. It feels that I did the wrong move. e6. Yeah, and then the question remains, why? What was the reason to put the bishop so passively? e6, and here I might try to attack this bishop. Okay, castle, castle, bishop g5, some very easy moves. Simple developing moves. Okay, what to do with this bishop? Black probably wants to take it. I will need to take it, and then my pawns are gonna be compromised. My pawn structure is gonna be a little bit weakened. But at the same time, if I take on e6, my opponent's gonna take, and it feels that her pawn structure is gonna be stronger after this exchange. So I don't want it to happen. So I can also consider some alternatives such as knight d5. But because of this knight on h3, which is definitely misplaced, yeah, sometimes one wrong decision can lead to some serious consequences. Okay, let me play knight d5 anyway. h6. Why? Again, we should understand why we make our moves, right? Behind every single move should be some kind of plan or idea. And White's idea, White's plan is definitely connected with d4. So maybe this move is played with the idea to capture on d4 and then not to give this square to White's bishop. But it seems still a little bit too cautious, but possible. Okay, let me play a3. Maybe I will be able to play b4 at some point. I've got a castle here. Yes, the bishop went to g6, but I can take the bishop at some point. Maybe not immediately, because I'm not sure I want to open the h file for the rook immediately. So let me castle first. Yeah, well, here we're playing along theoretical line, the Chelyabinsk variation, Sveshnikov, it's called in English literature. Okay, I'm gonna develop. I'm trying to develop my pieces. Here, there is also knight e1 possible, but I think Black's idea is to play d6 after that. I can try and calculate the line further, which is not something ordinary for a Simul. Of course, my first intention was just to capture, play e1, knight e4 is forced, so I can try to attack this pinned knight, d5, and then something else, bishop d5, but it doesn't feel quite enough. It doesn't feel winning, let's put it this way. And when I see those two pieces on the open file, I feel like trying to find something stronger than just a better position. So yeah, so rook e1 is being investigated by me. So basically I see two moves that I need to consider, knight e5 and rook e1, and both those moves, they are connected with some calculation. So I need to calculate both lines and evaluate them and see what I consider to be a better one. It's not always easy, but okay, let me make move rook e1. And we'll see what's gonna follow. Okay, a6. Why black's idea might be to play b5. That's a very logical idea, since my king is castled queenside. Trying to do something on the queen side. But since this guy is on h3, the first thing that I consider, of course, is somehow it feels like I need to put this knight into work, in doing something. Unfortunately, it's always connected with some knight f2 ideas that I also have to take into consideration when considering moving this knight. And I do feel like I'm a little bit, my pieces are a little bit discoordinated. Like again, one piece stands badly, the whole game stands badly, as I say. That's why it's important to put your pieces well. Sometimes even grandmasters fail to do so. So desperately trying to find a way to coordinate my pieces somehow, but for some reason not really finding a good decision. Let me try. I have time. I can try. d4. The plan with d4 would be another possibility, but I'm not sure c3 and d4. It has its drawbacks, let's put it this way. How to untangle. My pieces. Can't find a good reason. Okay. Yes, d6, that's exactly what I was calculating, right? And my idea was to play knight g5. Knight d7 and c5. Well, okay, I will continue developing. Here I capture. Well, luckily, I do have positions where my decisions are quite easy to make. Otherwise, it would be difficult. Very difficult. Okay, still in this theoretical field. Usually, I don't know why I didn't play my favorite Sicilian line. Why I decided to go. Yeah, my idea here was to take and play f4, just re-checking. Take with the bishop. Let's see what my opponent prepared. Bishop to d6. Okay. Now let me take on d6. Take on e5. When I can capture, I capture, right? When I have... Oof, b6 is kind of scary. It kind of weakens this knight and the rook. And my bishop is right at this diagonal. So when the knight is not protected, I do start considering different tactical ideas connected with discovered attack. And of course, winning a central pawn is often a very good idea. So now I have to decide which pawn I want to win. Do I want to play knight takes e5 immediately, or do I want to play b5 and then capture on d4, or still e5? Probably I'm gonna play b5 and then I'm gonna decide. Yes, and here I wanted to play 4. Let me make this move. Bishop to e7. Bishop to e7. e5. Let's start attacking. Yes, and here I need to make a choice to take or not to take, and if take, where to take. I'm not sure it's such a big difference, so let me take on d4. Such a long thought. It was queen d8. Before queen d8, black did think for quite a while. Okay, here my opponent is not kidding anymore. It's a serious business. But playing for checkmate is of course nice, but somehow, well, so far it feels that this attack is still quite far from being something special, and that gives me a hope to be able to coordinate my pieces finally. Okay, here some interesting moment for consideration, whether to take and to exchange this pawn or try something else, such as c4, for example. Because if I take on d5, it's just an exchange. It's still, I think, after knight c3 a very good position, because the knight is placed very badly. And after queen d3, for example, okay, it can go to a5 and then try to get somewhere closer to the queen side. They also have queen c4, and this pawn is hanging, so it's definitely a possibility. But they say that it's good to consider several moves. So c4 is one of such a possibility. Another possibility to consider. Bishop a3 also might be something to calculate. So again, I need to calculate those lines, compare them, and make a decision. I'm gonna take. It looks quite easy and direct, and I don't think I need to complicate anything. But we can see that h6 after all was quite a useful move, because I wish I could play bishop g5, but I'm not able to. But I do want to prepare b4. Fortunately, right now this move is not such a great one, so I have to develop this bishop somehow for this rook to be protected. The question is how. What would be the best way to develop it? Because every single move on this diagonal does bring some problems. Okay, so let's try to find the right way. Bishop takes h6 even can be considered, but okay, I don't think it's gonna bring me enough compensation. And the bishop is worth 3 pawns, as they say. And chess sometimes is a very materialistic game. It's about material. In many cases, not all. Let's play g4. It looks a little bit shaky, but it does take under control certain squares which are important. Knight to g4, knight to a5. Too wide, no? Don't you think so? That Something shouldn't be right for black here, because it's just too wide for an opening. Maybe it's fine, but what if I play h3? Just simple. I was considering e6, but after f takes e6, don't really see how to continue. The attack. So let's play h3. It's gonna be easier with the knight on h6. Okay, black attacking. And here I need to choose where to go. And how to go. Bishop, queen c4 or queen b3. Or something else. Queen c5, queen d4. I mean, there are many moves, right? Queen b7 I don't really consider, because this pawn is going. Queen b3. One move is eliminated because the pawn is hanging. Okay, that's easier. You see, sometimes we do eliminate moves by comparing them. The pawn is under attack, so it's better not to give up this pawn, because it's a central pawn. It's a very important pawn. And since it's useful to put your pieces on protected squares, somehow I tend to choose between queen d3 and queen d2. I thought about queen d3, but then knight a4 and the pawn on b7 is not really hanging because of knight c5. But then I can play bishop a3. Somehow I like queen d3 more. I think it stands well. The queen stands well there. Okay, let me put the queen to d3. Okay, and here something doesn't go quite right for black's knights. e6. It's just too hard not to make this move. And this position. b5. Okay. Not if I play a3. Just not calculating anything. Just a move. Here my idea was to capture on h6 and play knight e5. Well, such a powerful pawn, but somehow I think that's fine for me. That's fine. Knight e5 was my idea, attacking the bishop on d7 and creating a checkmate threat. Black decided to give up this knight, or probably they didn't have any other possibilities. Knight g6, yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. I will play knight g3. At least that was my idea. Bishop e6. What is this? It's a central opening. Sometimes when giving a simultaneous exhibition, I do forget about certain games, and it takes time to recall what openings was played, especially when my opponents take time to think. I do just forget about some games. But luckily it doesn't take a long time to recall. Yes, queen, bishop g2. Here it's a checkmate. Checkmate is coming. Checkmate in 2 moves. Or maybe finally here I would be able to do something good for my pieces. And let me play d4, cutting off the bishop on b6. Here I'm gonna take on e5, I'm gonna take on g2. We just made 6 moves here. Wow, it doesn't go very fast. It doesn't go very fast. How to continue here? G4 is very tempting, of course, with the idea to play f5. to capture this bishop. Yeah, let's make this move. One needs to be careful when making moves such as g4, but sometimes. Here, f3 or king to g1. Let's play king g1. Knight went away from g8 to b6. That seems quite a maneuver, and again, it's not so clear to me whether it really was worth spending so many moves and just to move your knight all the way from the center somewhere to the other side of the board. But okay. Sometimes we need to prove, I mean, most of the time, we need to prove that your opponent's moves are wrong by making your own strong moves, and that's not always easy. Okay, let me just switch off something. Okay, because otherwise. Okay, the pawn on c5, first of all, is not protected. And I do consider taking it, of course. I do consider capturing this pawn. Because it's always tempting to win a pawn, but then I see some counter ideas for black. And I do see how they might get some compensation. And why do they try to sacrifice this pawn? But let me take on c5 and then decide. Black decided to play knight b5. I considered only knight a4 just for a reason. I didn't see where this knight gonna go after e4 if here. So let me ask this question to my opponent. Knight h4, and I don't really want to give up this bishop because I might be in trouble. Yeah, I was not sure about king g1. I didn't want to weaken a little bit my black squares, but here I might need to reconsider. Okay, let's change my mind. Oof, what a position, huh? What a chaos on the board. But it does feel better than it was for me after the opening. And there are some... Black is giving up some material after queen c8. And I don't really see the clear explanation what's gonna happen. I mean, definitely some compensation, although it's such a pity to take on b6 here, but anyway, a piece is a piece. Okay, let me develop bishop to e4 and g5 probably. And here we're still in the opening books. Yeah, it's funny how the Simul progresses. In most of the games, we're already very far away from... Oh, that was some kind of a trap that I didn't see, of course. Okay. Let's see what I can do about my blunders. Okay. Let me capture the bishop. And here I won a piece, right? I have a 2 bishops advantage. And a very nice, beautiful extra bishop. Okay, what do we have here? The position did change quite a lot for the last few moves, because there were many pawn structure changes. So need to be re-evaluated and plans need to be readjusted in a way. Okay, I'll play queen e1 for f5. I wasn't... Yeah, I did blunder this idea of black, but I do hope to survive after that. I do hope to survive somehow. Although playing with an extra piece was much better. So how to give away what I want to give away? Just some choosing. Let me play like that. Complicated positions. Knight h7, and I go where it's going. I know where it's going. I'm not going where it's going. Okay. So let me protect this pawn in advance. Okay. Bishop. Oi! Whew. Bishop b3 was quite an oversight. Okay, the Simul giver is already quite tired, so I can see and feel, and I start making mistakes and some tactical oversights. They can be costly. They can be quite costly. c6. I see the plan. It's a very nice one. But I do hope to be able to do something against this plan. And I must say that I'm playing very slowly, taking my time, but I will need to play faster if I don't want to lose all time in every single game that is left. How to get rid of this knight? This knight is very annoying. I don't like this knight standing there, but I don't see a plan of... let's play d5. B takes a5, yes, that was my idea, to take on d6. Knight to b6. Yes, exactly. I like this plan for black as well. Let's play queen g3. Yes, and when I played bishop b3, I was afraid that I blundered queen b3 and then a2, but luckily everything was under control. Okay, maybe it's time to move this knight into play. I think it's definitely the time. Into g4. Okay, let me try to develop knight. Well, no extra piece anymore, that's for sure. Well, that's interesting that in this position we're still in the opening stage. That's what I was saying, that in this Simul, some of the games we've already made so many progress, and some games they're just starting. Amazing. Okay, but here I feel some tension, and I think I can get... Okay, let me try without long calculations. What was that here? I captured 9, the bishop. They gave away. Black decided to give up her dark squared bishop. Oh, I don't think it's a good idea. Usually you really need to have a very good reason to exchange your dark square bishop for a knight in the King's Indian structures. Well, here, where to go with my knight? What do you think? Let's play. Oi, I make moves and I see so many continuations for my opponent. That's a bad sign. Usually you're supposed to see those continuations before making your move. Somehow it doesn't quite work for me. Oops, that's a scary one. That's a nice one. Of course, I didn't see it coming. Like positionally, my position is a little bit shaky. Let's put it this way. So something did go wrong for me. Okay, here some nonsense is starting to happen. Some tactical fireworks. So we'll see how it's gonna go. What it's gonna bring us. A5. Yes, this is a nice one. Nice one. Okay, let me take with a check. Yeah, when playing bishop e3, I was hoping that I kind of prepared for queen c5, that I made this move maybe not impossible, but hard to make. Knight takes e6 leads to a very pleasant endgame for me. Okay, what else? Queen d3, queen d2. Also quite a... Okay, let me just capture. Maybe it's not the strongest move, but again, I'm running low on time on most of the boards, so I feel like I really need to speed up. Oh, what's going on here? Who's gonna explain? Too complicated for my mind. I feel that I should be much better in those complications, but again, in chess you really need to prove your evaluations with your moves. Otherwise it's just words. That's why we like chess, right? Okay, guys, can't really... I want to make a good move, but it keeps... Okay, let's play bishop f4, although I'm not sure about it, but really need to make a move at some point. Bishop b2, a4, yes, and what do we have here? What is this position? How to evaluate it? My knight on g2 is terrible. That's for sure. Here, what are we playing? Yes. Okay, let's play bishop g5, bishop d4. Here the series just starting. Castle. Yes, I remember there was a line like this. Let me take. There was a line like that long time ago, and I can't really say that I still remember. So everything is equal, right? at least when you start those fireworks, you really need to keep track of all the sacrifices that you make, because sometimes you can, you know, just be, you can be carried away, and it's very, very important to have a cool head, to be able to control your emotions. G6. I was hoping with bishop on b2 this move would not be possible. Okay, let me show you why I thought so. Yeah, this game, something didn't quite go my way. I didn't for some reason play f3 nor h3, and I might regret my decision. I might regret it. The problem that you really need to be careful now. You really need to be careful because, well, because one inaccurate move can lead to the game being over. And of course, I don't want it to happen. What to do? How not to get checkmated? That is the question. And yes, it's scary. Let's hope it's not a checkmate yet. Let's hope so. Bishop to g4. Trying to put some pressure on d4. But maybe I can play bishop b5. I know I just played bishop d3, but okay, I changed my mind. It's okay sometimes to change your mind. Just capturing. But the rook is hanging. No, it's a checkmate, by the way. It's gonna be a checkmate, surprisingly. Yeah, no. Okay, I won 2 games. That's quite a relief already. Because my opponents, they're trying very hard to... They are actually putting a lot of pressure. Okay, this position I don't like, where I played a4. I did misplay somewhere in the middle game. So let's just hope. I will just hope for the best. This position I like much more. Okay, and in this position, I was talking about keeping your head cool, right? Well, that's very difficult to do in this situation. Just too many things, too many pieces hanging. I did have some kind of idea when playing knight b5, I suppose. So let's pretend that was bishop takes d6. Okay, check. Let me capture on f4. At least there's going to be just one knight left. Yes. And again, I do remember there was a line like this. And I do remember that black was getting some compensation. But okay, a pawn is a pawn. And a compensation is a compensation, right? Okay, what here it's more pleasant for my eyes. This position is much more pleasant for my eyes than the previous ones. Okay, let's play knight e3, although it looks weird. Just ignoring the fact that I was I mean, I'm preparing also queen d5 and knight f7. Oh, look, it's going to be a smothered mate. Ah, it might be a smothered mate. I've never given, I think, a smothered mate in my life, in my chess career. I don't remember, at least, but let's give it a try. Yeah, and my idea was to just go to h1 and then protect by playing rook g2. Yes, that's the most unpleasant position I think that I have on the board right now. Well, I don't like it because I did make some bad decisions in this game, and well, I'm suffering here. What to say? I'm suffering quite a lot. It feels like I need to give up this pawn, not to end up in a complete lost position. Yes, so my idea is to give a check, but don't tell anyone about this possibility of a smothered mate. It was a secret. Queen to a6. Why did I play? There was a reason behind bishop d2, I remember. But now I can't figure it out. Okay, let me just take on d6. Let me just capture it. e6. h3. It looks like some kind of Alapin. Yeah, and here I am going to be tortured. I'm going to suffer. Yeah, rook g2. Well, I know the rook is not... Yeah, unfortunately, I was not given a chance to give a checkmate. A smothered checkmate would be such a nice possibility. Here I'm just winning some material, but it's not that satisfying. It's not as beautiful as a smothered checkmate. To e7. Bishop to e7. Well, here my opponent does take her time, I must say. She's taking her time. I think it's one of very few games where black is below 10 minutes. I don't know what to do. Okay, I don't think it's the strongest move. Here I am disappointed that I did not get an opportunity to give a smothered mate, so probably I need to play a few more hundred of games to be able to do so. So my chess career must go on, I suppose. Here bishop c3 or bishop h6. Just choosing, well, bishop h6 attacks a rook, I suppose. Must be better. The bishop here controls the f3 square, which is quite important. Because, well, if the bishop is not here, then there is a fork. Checkmate alert. Checkmate, okay. 3-0 so far. So far, so good. But I think it won't last very long. In the same way. Okay, what do I have? I have an endgame with an extra pawn, and another pawn is about to be taken. I'm just trying to choose the most technical way to do so. Well, okay, let's play rook f6 although. No, I don't want to give up this bishop, sorry. No, not yet. Maybe I need some patience. Okay, let's protect. Okay, the series, I believe, goes on. Let's get c3. Yes, I see. I see Black's idea. That's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. Let's try to set up a trap on h4, hopefully. Yeah, here I need to do something about those pieces hanging around my king. The tension is always here. I don't like this tension. Also quite a nice way to propose to exchange pieces. Let's take this pawn. Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to checkmate my opponent straight away. She didn't let me give a checkmate. And since my king is quite open here, I still need to take care and to be careful when making moves. The position is of course winning because it's just a simple queen, right? Queen for nothing. And actually it helps a lot to just to realize that just calculating pieces might be okay, but still got to be careful. I have to be careful. Well, that looks a little bit weird, but let me take. Yes, bishop to e6 is the right continuation, of course. That's why I was hesitating whether to make this move or not to make it. Okay, but at the end I decided that exchange is an exchange. And here's it's a pawn endgame, and it should be winning. They say that pawn endgames with an extra pawn is winning in most of the cases, and with several extra pawns it's like almost sure to be winning. There are some exceptions to this rule, but they are very rare, and in practical games, like study-like exceptions. Okay. Here I have 2 extra pawns, and as I said, the rest should be quite easy. Here I have an extra queen, right? I told you that I still should be careful because I don't really believe in Black's compensation in this position. Yeah. Here my plan is to go to h6. I'm still trying to give a checkmate. Why do I do this? I think I kind of secured the king side, but okay, Black still, right, has some ideas. It's hard to believe those should be possible. Hard to believe. Okay, and let's make a solid move. h6, proposing to take on e6. Okay, let's do it. And here I just need to create, well, I have one passer, I create second one, and the king is just not able to hold it. And yes, that's a game where I'm suffering. Where I'm suffering quite a lot. My knight on g2 is terribly placed. Look at this difference between those two knights. What a position. One shall not get such positions. Okay, well, let's continue. Let's face the consequences of a bad play. What to do? When you play badly, your opponent might win this game. That's sport. That's life. Okay. And yeah, my plan is simple. In some of the games, I thought that f6 was the only move to protect from knight g5, queen h7. But black decided not to protect. Here it's I was hoping that it's better a little bit, but most likely it's just equal. Now I need to choose a plan. How to put my pawns. Because of course I would like to play g3, f4, but I doubt that after g3 black will allow me to make this move. So I try to figure out whether I'm in time to weaken those weak squares, and then whether it's worth it to weaken these white squares. Kind of afraid that it won't be possible yet. So maybe, since I'm not sure, I will try to make just a move that improves my position. And here, yeah, black is definitely trying her best to checkmate me. But okay, guys, I'm not sure it's possible. Okay, here I just can push my pawns because the poor king is just not able to stop it. Of course I can just play as simple as king e5. Probably it's the most technical way of playing when you don't need to calculate. You just can avoid making moves that require calculation, but okay, calculation is not a very difficult one. Here I don't see how is it possible to break through, so I'll just ignore black's moves. And yeah, it's not a checkmate yet, but it's very close. It's very close to being one. Let's play g3. I do want to play g3, f4. h6, h takes g6, both win. Okay. But then I can try to, to show that I also might think about giving a checkmate. Yep, no problem here for black that too many pieces are hanging. King to f7. That's okay. Now, how to get to this king? How to get to this king? What a position. What a position. Let me play knight h4 for some reason. And here I promote my pawn into a queen. Queen to b6. Okay. Logically enough. Well, unfortunately for black, the material advantage is just too great for white to spoil this game. Yeah, that's what's bad about chess. Rook g7, I think, wins. That's a drawback, right, of a chess game, that sometimes making just one blunder is enough to lose a game. That's a little bit sad, because in some other sports you can really turn the tables around. Even if you're losing like a match, or almost losing a match with a great point difference. But in chess, one mistake and that's it. Not always, and of course you have to try your best to fight till the very end. But if you're playing against an experienced player, even one mistake can be enough. Okay, very funny position here. I think I should be winning, but since there are so many pieces and so many tension around my king, of course I cannot be relaxed. I should always consider different moves. Okay, e3, I'm trying to, but I'm not sure. e3 kind of weakens the position a little bit. Yeah, and here I was thinking that it's a checkmate in 3, knight f6, queen f8, and nice checkmating pattern. Well, I did manage to make my dream come true, to prepare f4, but as often happens in chess, sometimes you kind of set up a plan and you do your best to make it happen, and then you succeed. Then you start realizing that it was not really exactly a plan that was required. But okay, since I said A, let's try to say other letters of an alphabet. I can play b3 right here because my rook protects the knight. I don't really think it's really needed. Probably like knight d5 wins anyway, but okay, don't really want any more positions with the tension around my king. Okay, here the only problem is just to avoid giving a stalemate. Oof, I forgot. You know, I thought that I was going to take on f5, and I forgot that king f6 actually protects this pawn. Now I realize that after king f5 I still have g4. Oh yeah. So I close my eyes and I make this move. I close my eyes and I make this move. Okay, b6. When you make a move with a check, that's for sure it's not a stalemate. That's a good life hack for less experienced players. If you have a great material advantage and you don't want a stalemate to happen, just make moves with checks. Move with a check, yes, that's a checkmate in 2. Will never be a stalemate. That's how we avoid them. What to do here? Any suggestions? Good suggestions are welcome. Yes, my opponent is very, very cruel. Okay, here at least it's less cruel. Luckily, not all my opponents are so cruel, because otherwise I would lose all games, and that's gonna be tough. Okay, and what after queen? Rook takes g4. Is it some kind of a checkmate? I hope not. I don't see any checkmates. So I can also play e4, by the way, first, but I don't really want to. Although e4 is winning a full queen. King f4, king f3. Somehow e4 closes the position, and I don't want it to close. It's a completely winning position, but for some reason. Okay, let's give a check. My idea was to pin this knight, and that's a checkmate, and that's not a checkmate, unfortunately. I hope to be able to hang in there. Sometimes it feels like you're completely winning, but you still have to be careful. But here I thought that I might... But if I give a check, then right, king e5. So maybe taking the queen with a check, after all, is not such a bad idea. So there should be a checkmate there. So yeah, let's do that. Knight to b4. Ugh. Black protected the pawn. Black protected the pawn. And what should I do? Well, I don't want to see. To wait and see. So we'll try to create, at least try to create some counterattack. Okay. And what if I give a check? Knight to d5. Making sure that white is not able to play d5. Okay, that's reasonable. That's a check, yeah. I was not very happy to see this possibility, but I don't really think it brings many problems to me. Okay, let's attack the knight on c6. Yeah, but in that case this knight is lost, so with a check. It's always great. Okay. Well, I suppose I have to push it forward, right? I was talking about some counterattack and check. Ooh, so many pieces on this diagonal. Still hard to win. Okay, well, check is not a checkmate, as they say, so I was hoping to survive after it. Whew, luckily, all pieces that were hanging around my king got exchanged. And it's not possible to checkmate anymore. Still 6 games going on. In some of the games, well, in one game, right, I'm desperately trying to survive. Other games are more pleasant. For example, like this one, like almost a checkmate and an extra rook, and here is well, it's an equal endgame, I think, or very close to being equal, but we'll go on, we'll play on, because I have a possibility to create the passed pawn. I have a bishop versus knight, so that means that I'm gonna play on 2 sides more easily. We'll see, we're gonna play, and I have a big time advantage, surprisingly in this game, quite a significant time advantage. Okay, I can capture, I can play rook f7. I don't think it makes any difference. It's gonna bring to basically the same position. It should bring king to g7. Okay, how to give a checkmate? I want to give a checkmate. Now, they say it's a goal of a chess game to give a checkmate. King to e6. When the king goes to e6, we shall conclude that something doesn't quite go black's way. Wow. Okay, well, that's an interesting endgame. Now let's play it. That's a very pleasant middle game. Here, well, the king should get into the center. Let's play h4. I won't let this king escape. I'm afraid. Okay, so let's give a check. 5. Knight f4. Knight to f4. Capturing on f4 is very tempting. Actually, it should be played. But the problem is this position that there are so many tempting continuations that really hard to choose. Let's give a check. King to d7. Well, first of all, I can take, and probably I should take with a check, and then I'm gonna take on e7, and it feels like a checkmate. It feels like a checkmate there. Yes. Play. I don't have to, but I think it just checkmate in 2, right? Queen d6 and then rook e1. So when it's checkmate in 2, probably should be able to calculate it, because even though I'm saying that you don't have to and you don't have to, you should not really sacrifice your pieces when you don't have to, but sometimes it's also very important to finish your game, just to calculate till the very end and to make sure it's over as fast as possible, because longer the game progresses, more chances for you to make a mistake, and we don't really want to increase our chances of making mistakes. It's a checkmate. And here we make every move with checks. Yeah, but finally, at least here I got some counterplay. Luckily, I feel like I have some counterplay, and it's such a relief already. Such a relief. Because a few moves ago, it felt like resigning. I felt like resigning when... Okay, here I need to choose. I have knight c2. Do I need to make this move immediately? Let's make this move immediately. Okay, so here comes this endgame. Yeah, I'm playing very strangely. For some reason I don't want to exchange knights. I want to keep more pieces. I want to keep more pieces on the board. That's a checkmate, right? And that's why my pieces go backwards. But I do hope that they will eventually move forward. Check. Okay, I should move my pieces forward sooner or later. Four games still in full progress. And so far so good for me. I won 7, but some of them were very tense, and as soon as the Simul is over, I will go over all the games that I played, and we'll try to calculate. Okay, we'll try to commentate. Okay, now this position is very tense. I was happy for a second about a chance to survive, but now I see that it was quite a premature feeling. Okay, what should I do? Somehow I need to unpin my pieces. Like, it feels like I almost succeeded in doing so, but no, fortunately not. Well, if I play d7, then rook d8, and then I don't see what I'm gonna do. Yeah, there can be some rook endgame, right? Okay, let's try. Still, I don't see any. Yes. And here I was hoping to unpin in quite a weird way. So let's see if this way is working. Okay. I don't see any other ideas. So how can I improve my position here? They say that I should play on the side where I have an advantage in numbers, at least in the number of pieces or pawns. Okay, h6 here is my next move, and quite hard. I wanted to say that it's quite hard to stop this from happening, but it's not working, right? I thought about, okay, h6 should be winning, and here I have an extra rook, and that's a very nice situation where I don't really need to calculate anything else. I just can make moves, and well, I should be winning. Check. I was hoping for rook h3 to cover from this check, and my next move is here black is trying to build up some kind of a stalemate cage, but I'm afraid it's not possible. But the king should stay there. Okay, and here next rook, knight to d3. Okay, but at least in that case I'm able to unpin my pieces, which feels like a very, very big step forward. It looks like a very great step forward. Okay, and here I'm maneuvering. Okay, I won't care about those. Not possible to checkmate immediately, so I will need to take some time. Okay, take a check, take with a check. Where does my knight go? That's a big question. I haven't really answered this question myself. Yes. Where does my knight go? It goes, I want to play g4, of course, but for some reason after g4 I don't like knight f4 happening on the board, so I'm trying to protect the square. Maybe it's a wrong plan. I'm not really sure that I really need to play g4. I realized, let's play king f3. Well, here just too many good moves. Too many very good moves. And if I give a check, if I give a check, and take on h6 with a check, and here, yeah, I will just move my pawns forward. Well, at least this endgame I think is already a completely winning one, because I have 2 passed pawns. Suddenly when you blunder a pawn, yeah, the game is basically over. That's what I was saying about cruelty of a chess game, that you can play a wonderful game but then just make a small mistake. Ooh, knight takes e5. What? Ah, no, it's not take e5. Okay, it's just knight e5, but still impressive, quite impressive. And make just one small mistake in a time trouble, and that's it. The game is over. And here, luckily, I might start hoping for an unbelievable save. Yeah. So let's play rook c2, creating a checkmating threat. Now I have to figure out what would be the best way to proceed with my extra pawns, because those are side pawns, and side pawns, they can be tricky, they can be easily blockaded, and I don't want it to happen. So okay, let me take knight f3, and here I was hoping for, maybe I was wrong, but what to do? I'll see. Knight f5 was my hope. Here b7, and checkmate is coming up shortly. It's coming up shortly. Yes, and here I thought this idea of giving a fork and winning this pawn. Well, sometimes it's too hard. It's too hard. It's not a checkmate, right? Yet. Back. Back to d8. Okay, and what do I have? So I'm 2 pawns down, but this pawn can be easily attacked. Probably should be easily attacked if it's easy, if it's so easy, because otherwise, you know, luck has a plan. Your king is not very well placed. All pawns are weak though, so it should give me some chances to survive. Chances to survive. What else could I hope for in this game? I think I can capture it. I think I can capture it. Here I think I can play king d4 first. Knight to h2. Well, that's quite far, because here I can take all the pawns little by little, and then I will be the one playing for something more than that, for more than yes, knight g4, that's the right one. It stops knight f6. It should be very close to a draw, right? And king e4 here, finally. No more checks and 3 extra pawns. No more checks, but 3 extra pawns. Here I'm still a pawn down, but again, just it feels as black has so many weaknesses, and this knight is actually poorly placed. So definitely my opponent offers me a draw. Well, to tell you the truth, my position is already much better, or it feels like it. Rook c4. The knight on g4 is just in so much trouble. That's a good moment to offer a draw though. Probably it would have been better to offer me draw a little bit earlier. Okay, well, here I'm afraid it's over. h6. Yes, that's the right decision, because black needs to do everything that is possible to try to save this knight. That's okay, let me take. And let me take. Here I won't blunder a possibility to let my opponent's pawns be promoted. Well, in this position, just the advantage is just too big, and sometimes you just you lose concentration, and that's exactly why we say that you should keep playing on. Well, yeah, actually it looks like a draw. Here I just take. And h6, h7, knight f7. Two games are left, and it's not a stalemate because this pawn has one more move. Now it's a checkmate. Oof, that's nice. That's a very cute combination with the idea to play f5. With the idea to play f5. I'm playing against a very experienced player. As I can see, tactically very creative player. What if I play knight e6? That's a bad move. Of course, I should take on e3 and agree on a draw. But yes, let's take. Knight to c4, and that's a draw finally. But now I'm already happy that it's a draw. Okay, yes. So for draw, it was declined. Okay. Of course, I can see why. And it can be. Let's play knight g5. Yes. Hooray! So congratulations. Well, to me, first of all, not losing a single game. And the final score is 10 wins and 1 lost game. Let me make the window a little bit bigger and not. Actually, I didn't see that it was not updating. I would make a window a little bit bigger so we can go over all the games and analyze them with the participants. If you want to ask any question about those games, you're more than welcome to do so. Just a few seconds, I will adjust the window. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let's start with this game. The only game that ended in a draw. But as I said, I was lucky actually to make a draw here, but because I was completely lost, of course. How do we like that? Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's make like that, like this. Many inaccuracies. Here we go. So let's go over some games. Many mistakes. Some symmetrical Slav defense here. So everything was pretty solid. From the opening, quite equal position. But then I decided, yes, to play probably a little bit too risky. My knight is on h4, not on e5. There are some plans like this with f4, g4, but again, when going on to attack, you really need to have your pieces stand well enough to make this attack possible. So we see that the computer doesn't like this move f4, but okay, I still think it's possible. b5. b5 often actually weakens the c file, even though it looks like an active move. Sometimes it just weakens and gives white certain possibilities. I'm not sure what I was supposed to do. Maybe f5 immediately. The computer dislikes b5 a lot. g4. Okay, it says that g4 was needed. For some reason I said a and decided to play it safe to protect my knight from being attacked. But a3, again, it's not what computer agrees with, but g4 I did play, bishop e4, yeah, and for some reason I thought that my position should be very nice and pleasant, but it's a very tricky position, and black does have a very strong plan that actually was demonstrated in the game to transfer the knight on d5, a very beautiful central square, where the knight attacks this pawn on e3 and the other knight can get to c4, and yeah, white might get into trouble, as happened actually in the game. And a very beautiful suggestion not to end up in a trouble is to play d5, but that's quite a complicated move, because, well, you have to understand what's gonna happen after e takes d5 and also queen takes d5, right? So I thought that the idea is to play queen d5, but then I realized that the knight still protects the square on e7, so probably the idea is to play bishop g4 and highlight all those pieces standing. Look, almost all black pieces and pawns, they stand on white squares, so some kind of checkers in action, and yeah, that might be a problem. But I didn't see this idea. It's a very beautiful idea, but one needs more time to find such ideas. It's quite tricky to find them in Simuls, and yeah, I made some weird move of transferring my queen to king side, but again, since the pawn is on e4, it protects the f3 square, so my pieces are not able to transfer via f3, and the queen is not helping the attack in any way. So my play had to be connected with breakthrough in the center or on the side. And yeah, after queen e1, the position is just tough and very unpleasant. I don't have any counter chances, basically, because f5, g6, it leads to nowhere, while black has a very easy plan of improving her position. It can be connected with doubling the rooks on the c file, it can be connected with putting more pressure on the queen side. And well, I was trying, right? I was trying. Yes, a 97, 95 is also a nice maneuver that I liked. Well, the computer suggests that knight f5 was not necessary straight away, but quite a good move, I think. b4. A takes b4, the engine suggests, but I just didn't like my position after queen takes b4. Just so many pawns. Again, in these situations, it's about choosing the lesser evil, but I just hope to, to close up the position, but I'm just not in time, because here if I play b3, that was my intentional idea to protect this pawn. This square just worried me so much, right? When the knight comes to c3, for example, with the idea of getting to e2, and then, or the rook, and then, yeah, these pawns might fall apart. Maybe it was still better than queen f2, but I thought that I have to get my queen away from this king side, and in order just to secure. And b3 probably is a blunder because of what? I liked b3 during the game. The computer thinks rook c5 here is a very nice one. Well, we both missed it. That's possible, yeah, but here the position is just completely lost. A completely lost position, and of course, knight b4 was such a relief for me to see this move, because after this move, at least I have some kind of a plan. Maybe it's not saving the game just yet, but yeah, queen b3, look, just the game is basically almost over. Attacking two pawns, the knight stands beautifully. Yeah, but the reason that black didn't play this move because they wanted to protect the pawn on c2, right? Yes, but let's see, probably there are some tactical nuances that just don't. After knight c2, first of all, I think queen d3 looks nice. Queen b2, same as in the game, or queen d3, and then knight e3. Something should be winning here. What about rook takes c2? Probably just rook takes c2 then. If queen c2, then just so many pawns gonna fall. And if knight takes c2, then again probably queen b2. This pawn will just move forward if the queen goes somewhere to f2. If the queen goes to a5 though, it still should be calculated. Probably queen c1, and then again black should be ahead, but okay, luckily for me my opponent played knight b4, gave me some possibilities. Maybe I should have taken yes on g6 first, but okay, some mistakes. Queen to d1 first unpinning. So similar idea to what I did in the game, but not getting the pawn under attack. Yeah, and here, I didn't find this queen d1. I played rook d1 and it loses because of queen takes c2. Well, of course I saw it, but I thought that I was going to play rook c1 with the idea to play rook c8, and I thought that I have some chances to survive in this rook endgame. But the computer suggests knight to d4. Of course, I didn't consider this move. It's a very beautiful move. The idea is that After rook c8, black has knight e6, so I cannot play rook c8. I should take the knight, but in that case my pawn from e3 is gone already. It's not there anymore. So those pawns, they're going to be lost. And it's a winning position. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. But luckily my opponent was in time trouble already. She didn't find it. Knight to d3, but that's already yeah, as I said, a position where even I dared to decline a draw offer here. But of course after rook c4, yeah, my opponent played very well, by the way. I must say that even though that black was playing under seconds and the draw offer was declined, and of course I'm sure that my opponent realized that she had a winning advantage, but nevertheless she managed to save the game. She played well under time pressure, and and the game ended in a draw. Okay, very nice and interesting game for black. Let's see other games. Here, as I already said, I played a very rare central opening, but nowadays people do play it in rapid and blitz, especially because it gives some kind of a very creative play after e5, and one has to be prepared. And knight f6, bishop b4, castle is a usual plan for black. d6 is possible, but a little bit just too passive. And yeah, bishop g5 I didn't like. I don't know why I played bishop g5, and I don't know why black didn't play bishop g7 here, which would be more logical. Knight f3. Somehow I decided to exchange here everything, because surprisingly it just moved 10, but we were already getting... It was already the second part of the Simul. In most of the other games that I was playing, it was already... most of the games were heading to their end, and here we were just starting, so I felt like playing an endgame, which was, yeah, pretty drawish. But the only thing, e5 is a very bad move, because it just gives the square is better to use for black's knights. Rook h8 is quite a hard move to make, I must say, to give up this f-file. It's not the move that you consider, but yeah, e5 I did think during the games that it's kind of sad to take it away, but for some reason, okay, rook h7, it suggests that I can just simply win a pawn after that. It's as simple as that. Okay, well, chess is a simple game sometimes, but after this exchange, a slightly better position for white, but should be holdable, and it just, yeah, was just playing faster. And my opponent, black was playing very well until the moment, yeah, she blundered. Knight g6 is a very bad blunder. It just gives up the pawn and the position is lost. Well, after knight c5 there are still some questions to answer, but should be holdable. So it's a very good game for black, if you don't consider this final blunder. Some inaccuracies throughout, but otherwise pretty good. Okay, let's get going. Yeah, in this game there was something about knowing theoretical line. I know that such lines with sacrifices on b5 do exist, but I think they're, somehow they're connected with more accurate play. Knight d4 probably. So we see that a takes b5 is not considered to be a good move by computer, and bishop a6 looked very bad because it just lets white damage black structure too much. And probably I should have taken easily, but okay. Many inaccuracies because white could have finished the game faster, but the position is just too bad for black. So here's definitely, this game is a theoretical catastrophe. There's some theoretical knowledge is needed to be refreshed. Let's see this game. It's English. Yeah, h6. Okay, well, I kind of explained this move to myself. g4 looked risky. And what happened? And then we had some, yeah, c6. I think f5 here needed to be played, and black is better. My king is just so much weaker. Now after c6, some chaos, yeah, some fireworks. I'm sure many possibilities for both sides. And I played knight takes d6. Yeah, and here for some reason black just ignored my idea of giving a check and check on f7. Yeah, the computer suggests playing bishop e6 as calmly as that, although it's quite hard to see such moves, of course. But yeah, the position is very, very complex, and you see that white blundered first, but luckily for me, my opponent blundered last. And yeah, it was possibility to finish the game with a smothered checkmate. Such a nice possibility, unfortunately. Unfortunately, black saw this combination and gave up the queen, but okay, a queen is a queen. This game I went through. What here? And here it's also quite a strange play in the opening. Knight f to d7, c5, and I did get an opening advantage, although I cannot say that I didn't give my opponent chances to play better. e5, wow, what a nice one. And then knight e4, nice trick. Of course I blundered this possibility. Knight b6 is a very good move. Yeah, it did look bad, and I did commentate on moving your knight too far away. So knight b6, d takes c5. Doesn't like my move d takes c5. After d takes c5, the position is not so obvious still, so I didn't have to take on. But anyway, don't usually an advice to my opponent here: if she plays the King's Indian, don't give up your bishop for this knight. Just, I mean, sometimes black takes on c3, but usually it's connected with the idea to damage white structure and to attack white center. But here, just like that, it just looks very bad, and the position is just lost after that. Okay, this game, what happened? b6 was a very, very unfortunate blunder. Yeah. And even though black tried very hard to complicate things and tried to checkmate me very, very hard, but yeah, they have a big material advantage. And even though it looked pretty scary, but as you can see, I didn't miss anything, and little by little I just proved that an extra exchange is an extra exchange. Here something went wrong in the opening. Yeah, knight c6. Why didn't I play d5? That's a good question to me. After knight b4, queen a4. So knight c6 is not to be played. e6 usually is played, but that would be a good lesson for me as well, to know that d5 should be played after knight c6. But okay, I didn't play d5, and here you had to make sure that the knight would not go to e5. Unfortunately, after bishop f5, it was just too easy for me to play, because, well, the spin is very, very annoying, and black is not able to support the knight properly and in time. Yes, with the king on e6 in the middle game, it's rare. It's rare possible to survive. Okay, here, what was that? I played weirdly. Knight h3, I forgot how I was supposed to play. Probably knight f3, but I didn't remember what to do after the bishop f2. Probably it's just not scary. I was scared, and I played knight h3, and then I suffered a lot with this knight on h3. a6 is too slow, it says. The computer, it says it's too slow. b5, it suggests. Wow. But that's complicated. b5, I think, is not the only move. I was struggling in this game. I remember that I didn't like my position at all. But, okay, a6 is a bad one because of... Yeah, I was thinking about getting my knight to f4, but for some reason I decided to protect the f2 square first. And here just... these pawns moves happen just to help white more than they helped black, because they helped white to improve the position, to bring my pieces where I wanted them to be. And yeah, a3 makes black's position even worse. So even though I made a big mistake, knight h3, but here is the key position, and it needs to be analyzed what was supposed to be done here by black, because otherwise, I mean, if black finds a way to play, then the position is very, very nice. Here some kind of bishop d7 and e6 is not really the way to play in the opening. I was talking about it during the game. Yes, I don't like bishop b4, and giving up the bishop for a knight also doesn't look pretty. And after knight e5, yeah, I'm just... my position is just too good. Two beautiful bishops, and it's usually in the Catalan opening, for example, white gives up a pawn, sacrifices a pawn or even two to have such bishops, and here I have them for free. And after knight b5, the knight is trapped after a4, yeah. This game. And here, yes. Again, some opening theory is to be learned, because as I mentioned, queen e7 doesn't look nice here. d5 is the main move. Knight e4, knight g4 also possible, but queen e7 just probably loses the game. But not, no, I did make the wrong choice here. I was considering this line, but somehow f4, I didn't consider f4. Probably queen d4 and then rook e4. Although queen d4, queen c5. But anyway, white wins here somehow. I did choose the wrong line. But still did get a very good position. And even though I blundered here with 92, and the position got almost equalized. But yeah, queen c5 here was a blunder. Too many pawns. And a very pleasant endgame after that. But queen e7 is not to play in the opening here. It's not to play in the opening. And the last but not least, what was that? It was Ruy Lopez, Stenitz line. Knight a5, yeah, here it was. First of all, e takes d4. The pawn should not... black should not give up the center so easily here. I think knight... yes, and after e takes d4, well, knight a5 is not the move to make. Not move to consider even your game, because it's just too far from the center. It's too difficult to play. Yeah, I could have played more aggressively, but it just was such nice, and without the center, it's just so easy for white to start to find some attacking moves. Okay, but it was a very interesting event, I hope, for every participant, and I hope that you enjoyed playing. I do wish all the participants all the best in their future chess careers or in their lives. I thank everyone for watching, for listening, and all the best till next time. I hope we'll see each other soon. play chess. And yeah, and see you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.